Welcome back to Plague Scythe Studios, everyone. Today's first impression / review video is kind of going to be a little challenging because the product we're taking a look at is something that I don't have any experience with, and I don't have any of the tools that is necessary to actually make measurements to determine if the product actually lives up to some of its statements. So this is going to be more of experimental, just trying it out, seeing if it works and how I like it type video. So for most of you, that's going to be absolutely fine. It's going to be more than enough. But those of you that, kind of like to see when I switch pickups or do that sort of thing on guitars when I review those, or change the EQ settings on pedals and that sort of thing, we're not really going to have that luxury because of the type of gear we're taking a look at today. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the gear we are taking a look at. So here I have the X VIVE U2 wireless guitar system, and I just want you to take a look at this box because if any of you are familiar with wireless systems, they're generally a big bulky pack that you wear on your body, generally in your belt loop or on the strap of your guitar, and then you have the other ends hooked somewhere up. It's either a rack mount unit or some big bulky pedal looking thing that goes on your pedal board. A lot of the times they have wireless transmitters and that sort of thing. They're generally about the size of this box. So how can we fit an entire wireless system into something this big? I'll show you how. So these are it. Like I said, 1/4 inch jack on each side. We have a flexible transmitter and receiver. So depending on your pedal board setup, or if it's going straight into an amp, and depending on your guitar, all you have to do is plug it in, fold it over where it's going to be most out of the way, where it's not going to get stepped on, or it looks best on your guitar, and that's about it. It's as simple as that. You turn on the on buttons here, you'll get some glowy LEDs to let you know it's all good, and you can switch between a few preset channels using that button if you're having interference issues, although I have not. A little spoiler alert, I'm not going into this video completely blind. I did test these earlier, make sure they worked. I didn't want to go through the effort of filming the introduction to this video only to find out I got a lemon, but they do work. I plugged them into my amplifier, and the only real thing that I could tell that playing between the difference between this and a normal cable was that I can turn 360 degrees. It was really kind of strange the first time. I've never had the luxury of playing with a wireless system. So what I'm really interested in seeing is playing this through other devices that have known latencies with them. So this has about 5 to 6 milliseconds, absolutely imperceptible. Something like the AX8 also has around 3 milliseconds, I believe it is. So I'm wondering if they stack up and you can tell a difference. I still think it's going to be negligible by the time you account for, especially if you're monitoring through a DAW, whatever else. I don't think I'm going to be able to tell a difference. So I'm really excited to see if that is the case. So before I get into the player experience of these things properly, I thought it'd be nice to just kind of go over the proposition value of these compared to some of the competitors in the market. So the closest thing to this, to my knowledge, is the Line 6 G10, and it's a wireless receiver that sticks out about that much, maybe that much, but it's kind of a straight fat block. You can actually sync it to some of the newer Spider amps, but if you have another type of amplifier input device, you have this big chunk that you would hook up to your pedal board or amplifier, what have you, and that's where you would plug in the transmitter to charge when you're not using it. The nice thing about these is you can just plug up via micro USB, which who doesn't have a micro USB cable lying around? It may even come in the package. I don't need it if it does. So a little bit more universal fit there. I also like that it doesn't take up any space on a pedal board or a rack, depending on what your needs may be there. But you also look at the cost advantage compared to a lot of these other competitors. Like I said, the G10 is around the same price, but you start getting to the other Line 6 stuff, some Shure wireless systems, you're talking $300, $350, $500, up to $1,000 if you need really robust stuff. And that's not to say that they're worthless or you shouldn't pay that much. It just depends on your position as a musician. If you're a world touring artist and you have to have that reliability and that signal strength, make sure you have no interference, less latency than what these provide. Yeah, it makes sense to invest in that one time. But if you're just going to do a few gigs every now and then, like I plan to do, and or you're just using these for practice pretty much all the other time, just so you don't have to have an instrument cable plugged in at all times, then I think these things are very hard to pass up on compared to having a big bulky pack on your strap. So without further ado, let's plug it in, see how it sounds, see if I can even tell a difference. So as you can see, we are plugged up here on my Gibson SG. You just kind of fold this thing out of the way to the side. I think that's a pretty good angle. You're not going to get caught on much there. What's probably out of frame is the receiver on my AX8, but it's below there, so it's like 5 feet away, nothing big. And instead of recording the audio properly through something like Cubase, I'm just going to let you hear the camera audio. That way there's no other desynchronization, so you can see 60 frames per second, my hand, compared to when the audio is happening. So yeah, let's just noodle a little bit. Nothing. I could not tell the difference between that and plugged in an instrument cable. For funsies, let's just try another guitar. I'm listening as critically as I can, and there's absolutely no noticeable difference. Someone handed me this and a guitar with the actual cable plugged in. There's no lag. So I'm gonna sit over there, because I can't imagine that I would be further than, say, 15 yards away from the source of the audio, and see if the latency goes up. I'm assuming that there could be some perceptible latency if you're going through walls and that sort of thing, but yeah, screw it, let's see what happens. Man, this is weird. So the reason I can't tell any difference isn't exactly rocket science. Like I said before, the latency isn't something that's going to be that obvious to even the most experienced players, but it's also sending the signal at 24-bit with a frequency response from anywhere from 20 to 20,000 hertz, which just so happens to be the exact bit depth and recording frequency spectrum that you would use in a normal studio recording. So it's perfect. There's an exact replica of your guitar signal going out just digitally, from analog to digital, digital back to analog, digital to analog. So a lot of conversions going on, but you couldn't tell the difference. It's so exact. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this for 150 bucks. I remember kind of glancing in Guitar Center and the music stores when I was first playing guitar, going, man, I'd love to have one of those things. It'd be so nice to be able to just be free, be able to carry your instrument, and even sitting and playing. Sometimes you'll trip over your own cable, and gigging and playing with friends. Man, it'd been nice to have this when I was growing up. So yeah, for $155, I think is what I got for on Reverb. I think it's very well worth the investment if you can see yourself having to be mobile while playing guitar, and just not having to trip over your damn cable while practicing is well worth it for me. So I definitely look forward to getting some live experience with this. I should be doing a few gigs coming up with some random type of classic rock type stuff, but yeah, I'll let you know if my opinion changes, but I doubt it will. This is a hell of a value, and I look forward to seeing how it holds up. If it lasts more than 3 to 5 years, I will be extremely happy with it. So yeah, pretty cool. I wish I could have gone more in depth into just how perfect the signal is. Comparing more than just screenshots of the waveform is what I would have to do, and I just don't have the equipment for it. So yeah, find someone with an oscilloscope if you want that, but I quite like it, and hopefully this will kind of clean up my practice rig a little bit. So that'd be about that. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time we get a cool piece of gear. Thanks, bye.